I just attended a 3.5 day workshop, um, paid for by my company, which I wasn't that eager to go, but I didn't know that much about it ahead of time. Basically, I knew that the group that gives it is not allowed to do so in France. It is not allowed to do so in France. It's listed as a dangerous organization. But I didn't investigate, the origins of it were or anything. I didn't want to be biased. I figured I'd go, but it had sort of this, classified as a cult in France kind of rumor to it. It's called Landmark Forum, or was called that. The business arm is now called Vanto Group, and it comes from EST. If you ever heard that, or heard about that, it's like the human potential industry. EST, Werner Erhard, I think is the guy's name, and he sold the EST intellectual property to a company that gave it the presentation as the Landmark Forum, and it's got a little bit watered down. The basic issue is that it uses, as far as the French and Belgium and the cult watch people that have their eye on this Landmark group. The issue is that it uses what's considered, a cult-like technique. It breaks you down by making you feel worthless, whatever technique. There's various ways of doing that. Then they build you back up. Now, the interesting twist on Landmark, uh, it's just self-help. They're just trying to get you unblocked of certain things, and even if the techniques are cult-like, it doesn't mean that the philosophy they teach isn't beneficial or useful or something. But then the same thing could be said for Scientology, right? And it helps. Scientology helps those people. There's ways to not get so upset. Now, whether that makes you a better person or have a life more like you want to live, uh, if that kind of enjoyment is the fullest kind of enjoyment that humans can have, these are important questions for someone like me. But anyway, um, I don't know. It's so thought provoking that I can't really just sum up my thoughts. I'll have to make a series of videos on this. Um, I will say to begin with that in a situation like this, some group or person is expressing a philosophy to you. There's That's their explicit philosophy, and as I said, there's always implicit philosophy and behavior. An implicit philosophy associated with the behavior is the philosophy you would have to explain philosophically uh, your worldview, a possible worldview, a worldview that could generate that behavior. It's speculative, so it's not just one thing, but there's a range of behavior. But I mean, if somebody's stealing, they could say they think stealing's wrong, but I mean, they obviously don't think it's wrong if they're going to do it. You could say no, somebody thinks that it's wrong, but they do it anyway, so you know, yeah, whatever. They have a philosophy where they're for the actual of stealing. They maybe have whatever philosophy on how you talk about it as well, but they're for stealing. Now, in a thing like this, where the methodology is such a big part of the issue, you have to think that is an important part of it. Now, some people have defended this education um, by it helped them. Like, yeah, I was manipulated, but they helped me. Like a coach, that pushes their kids and calls them names even, you worthless, you can't do this, you said you'd do this, you'll never succeed at anything. And they do it out of love, tough love. Um, Fine, but the way I look at it is this. Look, let's say, let's say that the landmark can make me a transformative leader, empower me to transform, not merely change and become, but to be a possibility right now. Then what if that's not enough for me? You know what I'm saying? I mean, okay, that's one thing to become a transformative leader, but the landmark form can create them and potentially destroy them, as far as I know, come to think of it. So that seems like a next level up. Well, to do that, I'm going to have to use their techniques. I have to do as they do, not as they say, right? So, what is the philosophy of that? Well, it is this cult like idea of breaking people down. And there's a little bit of a healthy side of it to somebody who's maybe never done this, to be very self critical and to inspire self critical. And basically, their gimmick is that any complaint you have, it's pretty much your fault. It's like, oh, no, you don't. It's not my fault. But they bring you around to the fact that you're the one miserable about it. And that's the grain of truth. It's like, if something's making you nauseous, you're the one feeling sick to your stomach. If something's making you angry, you're the one who has to endure that anger. And is it really solving the problem? Not if you're, stuck. And so they get you to talk about these long-term complaints that you're sort of suffering from. And their gimmick is that they know they can turn that around into something you should just let go of. Now, this is just applying apathy, and I'll talk more about that later.